Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're a focused learner trying to cut through all the usual noise to get straight to the actual mechanics of effective communication, well, you're in exactly the right place today. I mean, have you ever felt that intense, stomach-dropping dread right before you have to speak in front of a group? You know, the sweaty palms, the racing heartbeat, the sudden, overwhelming urge to be literally anywhere else on the planet. Yeah, we've all been there. But today, we're breaking down a radically simple, totally rule-breaking approach to getting up in front of a crowd. It completely shatters the traditional, stressful paradigms we've all been taught about how to command a room. Honestly, I was blown away by how this just flips everything we know right on its head. So let's dive into this and uncover a surprisingly simple method that genuinely takes the terror out of the spotlight. Okay, I know. Hearing the phrase public speaking is easy actually feels, well, kind of insulting at first glance, right? We've all heard that terrifying old stat that people fear public speaking more than they fear literal death. The idea of standing totally exposed under bright lights while a sea of eyes judges your every word, it goes fundamentally against our survival instincts. But the source material we're exploring today kicks things off with this incredibly bold, refreshing premise. The core act of speaking to an audience really shouldn't be a source of terror at all. If you're just utterly exhausted by the idea of putting on a flawless, theatrical performance every single time you hold a microphone or unmute yourself on a massive video call, this concept is going to feel like a massive restorative sigh of relief. The underlying philosophy we're uncovering here is that essentially, we are the ones making it artificially difficult for ourselves. So why do we make it so agonizingly difficult? Well, we just have to look at the advice we're usually given. The reason we get so paralyzed is because of the rigid rules we're constantly fed. Directives like scientifically hack brains with specific eye contact ratios. Sound familiar? It's exactly the kind of highly clinical, hyper-analytical advice pushed by traditional, high-production presentation experts. You absolutely know the type. The gurus who tell you to hold eye contact for exactly 3 seconds per quadrant of the room, to stand with a precise, unyielding power posture, and to meticulously calculate every single hand gesture to convey maximum authority. Just thinking about it is exhausting. It takes a fundamental human connection and turns it into this complex, high-stakes, robotic math problem. When you're up there trying to scientifically hack brains while simultaneously remembering your posture and your breathing, no wonder you feel paralyzed by anxiety. You aren't speaking anymore, you're just nervously executing code. And the real problem with aiming for this sterile, robotic perfection, calculating your eye contact and tracking your brain-hacking metrics, is that it's completely overwhelming. It demands a level of multitasking that literally ruins your natural charisma. Reality is actually much simpler than that. Genuine communication isn't a performance, guys, it's a natural connection. Think about it. When you strip away all those complicated rules and the immense pressure to perform like some flawlessly programmed android, you are left with something so much more achievable. And ironically, that genuine, unfiltered version of you is way more compelling for an audience to listen to. People don't want their brains hacked. They want to be spoken to. They want the reality of a simple human exchange. Which brings us to the core mindset shift that completely changes the game here. Just act like you're already friends. Seriously, think about how you talk to a good friend across a dinner table or while grabbing a coffee. Are you secretly stressing over your eye contact ratios? Are you meticulously planning when to deploy your next authoritative hand gesture? Of course not. You're just sharing an idea. You're relaxed, you're breathing normally, your shoulders are down, and your tone is warm and intimate. By adopting this incredibly simple mindset, you instantly bypass the stiff, awkward formalities of traditional public speaking. You drop the heavy armor of the presenter, and you just start talking as yourself. It is incredibly freeing to realize that the conversational version of you is entirely sufficient for the stage. Okay, so how do we actually execute that warm, intimate feeling in a room full of absolute strangers? Well, we do it through an incredibly clever workaround called the isoplay. Now, isoplay sounds like a formal term, maybe some high-level basketball isolation strategy, but it's really just a casual, brilliant mental hack. It's a method of avoiding the crowd entirely. Let's be honest, a crowd is terrifying, but what if you just ignored it? Instead of looking at a massive, intimidating sea of expectant faces, you scan the room. You pick out one easy defender, and you just have a side conversation with them. It completely neutralizes the fear of a massive audience, because suddenly, in your mind, there is no massive audience. There's literally just one person, and you're just having a friendly chat. So when you walk out on stage, here is your exact playbook to make this happen. Step 1. Erase the crowd from your mind. The crowd is an abstract, terrifying concept, a monolith of judgment. Do not talk to the monolith. Instead, step 2, as you step up to the mic, scan the first few rows and find your easy defender. This is that one person who is already smiling at you, the one giving you an encouraging, empathetic nod, the one who looks genuinely happy to be there. that person is your lifeline. Step 3, once you lock onto them, just have a side conversation with that one person until you feel comfortable. Look directly into their eyes and deliver your opening thoughts exactly as if you were sitting in a coffee shop together. You are literally just talking to one friendly person while 50 or 500 other people just happen to be eavesdropping on your fascinating conversation. And the ultimate payoff of the ISO play? You get to completely fly past the awkward stage. We all know those first 30 to 60 seconds of any presentation are the absolute worst. That's the danger zone. It's when the adrenaline violently spikes, your breath gets shallow, your voice might shake a little, and you feel the crushing weight of 100 staring eyes. But by using the ISO play, by actively ignoring the larger room and locking in on that single, friendly, smiling face, you skip that initial panic completely. You don't even give the anxiety a chance to take root. You instantly settle into a natural conversational rhythm. Once your heart rate naturally drops and your brain registers that you're just chatting with a friend, you can slowly start to naturally pan your gaze to the rest of the room. But that agonizingly hard part, that terrifying initial spike of stage fright, is completely bypassed. It is a beautifully simple, highly effective way to reframe one of our greatest, most universal fears. Public speaking really can be easy, and honestly, dare I say, even a little bit fun, when you stop trying to mathematically hack the room's brains and start simply having a genuine conversation. It changes the entire dynamic from a stressful performance to a shared connection. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a provocative question to chew on. Next time you take the stage and you look out into that sea of faces, who is your easy defender?